Right, well, I'll start off. So, thank you all for coming today. It's fantastic to see a full room on a quite sunny Friday afternoon, which makes a change. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to hand over to Jackie to say a few words, and then we'll listen to Jeremy. But thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. I will keep it very brief because I know Jeremy's running a bit late. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much, Chris, for organising this. We really appreciate your support for WASPI, and you are a big support for WASPI as well. Thank you for putting it in the manifesto. We're all WASPI ladies, or attached to WASPI ladies here, so I'll just leave it open to when people say a few words to start with, and then the ladies can speak.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for giving me the time. It's been a very rushed day because we spent longer meeting some very good community groups in Morecambe than we originally planned, but I learned a lot from it. What I'd rather do now is hear from you about the problems you face because of the way in which the state pension age has been changed around, the hardship you've suffered as a result of it, and then we'll go into how we policy change it in the future. But my support is here for you, that's why I'm here with you. And if I may say so, this has been one of the most effective campaigns I've seen anywhere for a very long time, because you get to it seems that every community event I go to, a WASPI campaign is there, and it's getting great resonance because you've obviously got right and justice on your side. So if we hear a bit from you and then we say some stuff again, is that all right? Yeah. Go ahead. Who's first? Who's the driver seat here?
Ask a question. Can I ask a question?
And what I want to do is make some notes as you talk, and then we'll do a bit all at the end. So,
I'll tell you a bit about myself, but I want to ask a question really. The basic one concerns discrimination. I'd like to make comments about this. One of my main concerns, as well as all the other factors that mitigate against us women, especially financially, has to do with discrimination, has to do with the patterns of legislative change. So as a divorced woman who got divorced between 1995 and 2000, this has impacted on me very severely, because the changes which I essentially see as taking state pension away from me were actually carried out in 1995. I wasn't aware. I got divorced in between, and a judge in court said, you don't need a share of all these 5 pension pots because you'll get your state pension at age 60. Now, the automatic sharing of pension pots upon divorce was only legislated for fully by the year 2000. Now, I think those changes should have been the other way around. It's almost as if it's okay to take from women before you will actually share further. So really, had the pension age changed in 2000 and the automatic sharing of pensions upon divorce being in 1995, that would have been a fairer situation. But I think it adds to what I see as a problem we have in terms of how people make decisions. So in 1995, I believe it was a 90% male parliament, and even now we aren't fully represented, women in parliament, because largely it is a male parliament and not a female parliament. And I think as much as people might think they're not discriminating, I think at the implicit level, unknowingly, they may well do that, because it's difficult for people to actually see beyond their own frame of reference sometimes. So that's basically, I think, what concerns me. Me personally, I then went on to lose my son 5 years ago, my eldest son. I came out of my employment as a university lecturer a bit prematurely, earlier than I planned to. I was then diagnosed with cancer. So I've had to have some years out now, and that's now, even then, under the new pension rules, impacting on what I will get. So I'm looking at my forecast now. I've been contracted out a little bit, but I seem to have a large deduction.
How long have you got to go to the pension?
I'll be 62 in September, I've got 4 more years. But if I keep on paying national insurance now, it makes quite a bit of a difference. I've already got 43 years contributions. So I don't understand the way they're calculating that. It seems that the new pension rules, yet again, add to the complexities, which seem to, in my opinion, just take away from me again. It's almost like keep having things taken away from me.
Yeah. So you've taken full contributions all your life?
Yeah, I've just got 2 years shortfall now. One is last year, the year before last, I was ill. I had 3 operations when I came out of my employment. I went back to work last year for 4 months on basic pay, doing something. I was actually a co-toucher. And that's not a full year of NI contributions, so I'm losing years now. And that makes quite a difference on what I'll get. Other than that, I've got 1 year when I was the mother, that doesn't seem to be counted on my NI for some reason. I think it's to do with, well, it's 1977. I think it's to do with the rules again.
In your opening comments, you said about looking at views to change legislative policy. Does that mean for the future people that are going to come up behind us, or are you looking to try and drive something forward that's going to help all of us that are sat here today? I understand there needs to be change, it can't stay the same as it is, but are you looking to actively help us and women going forward?
Yes.
So this is your aim to...
Yes, because the aim is to deal with, I'll come to it at the end, but pension discrimination, representation of women on the cities that matter, but specifically the cohort of women who have lost out on pensions like yourselves, which is a specific number of people, where you are effectively high and dry with no pension until you're 66. And most of you have retired or would have wanted to retire if you could. In some cases, people did retire and everything is resolved. Any other experiences to share? Because this is what's valuable to me, is the individual experience. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm one of 3 sisters. Both older sisters have worked for 51 years. Our elder sister that's not here is severely disabled, and she's had to continue working because her husband was made redundant early. So she carried on working using 2 walking sticks and a scooter, going into people's houses, caring for them. And she's only just now been able to take her pension at 66. This is the other sister. She again still working. You're 63, aren't you? She's worked since she was 15. I've worked since I was 16, and I've had to take early medical retirement for my own health. So now I'm left expecting to get my pension this year. Didn't get a letter until 2013, so that only gave me 4 years where I was already medically retired. So I had no chance of making that short.
When are you expecting to get your pension?
This year in December.
When do you know it?
It's 2023, 6 years.
So you've got it somewhere unmanaged?
Yeah, and I think when you've worked all your life and our work ethic is good, our parents both brought 7 children up, we're all professional jobs, and then you suddenly having to face, people are saying, you can go and claim universal credits, you can do this. When you've not been brought up to do that, why should you have to go cap in hand and start begging when you've worked all your life? You shouldn't have to do that. You know, I'm fortunate that I am married and my husband's still working. But my sister, her husband's took early retirement to mind her, to look after. The father-in-law is 86. So you get the older people that you're looking after in the family. You get grandchildren who expect, you know, they expect some help as well. So you're stuck in the middle. We're the lost generation, really, where nobody cares, really. We've not been vocal. We've got stuck in and we've worked hard. And then you're faced with no pension. And it wasn't asked, it wasn't discussed properly. It was hidden away in newspapers that most of us didn't get the chance to read because we were working, we were bringing our children up, we were working hard. And we were paying into this country, all of us. And we deserve to have a pension that we worked for. It's been just took, you know, and that's wrong. It's daylight robbery.
The thing is, it's referred to as a benefit, and it isn't a benefit, it's our right, we've earned it. It shouldn't be classed as something that we're asking for. It's ours, and it's
It's a right.
I don't know if my story is as relevant as other people.
They're all relevant.
Because I still work, I'm 58, so I wouldn't have qualified for my pension until March 2019, as it is now. I'm going to be 66 before I get my pension. And like Shirley, my son died in 1997. He drowned at his nursery. So I took
compulsory redundancy so that when I had my second son, I could use that money to remain at home and bring him up. And I received credits towards my national insurance, so that would allow me to stay at home, and that was supposed to sort of impact on my eventual state pension when I get it.
Did you get those credits?
To be honest, I haven't actually checked, which is something that I need to do.
You should have done, but obviously.
Yeah, but
You
that's,
should receive credits as well, shouldn't you?
I do, but I have my children. My first child was born in 1976, and I think the room only starts in 1978, so they look a few years off.
yeah. Anyway, when the money ran out, I went back to work and I retrained as a teaching assistant so that I could be with my son during the school holidays. But I'd had a really good career prior to that, and I transferred my pension pot into local government pension schemes, about £300,000 that I transferred in. But I can't touch that now until I'm 66. If I want to take my pension that I should have got, private, this is private, so I don't think it's relevant because it's a private pension, I can't, I'll lose 27%. So if I take my private pension at the age of 60, I will have to forfeit 27%, which is an awful lot of money. So I'm stuck now, I have to work until
Why do you have to forfeit 27%?
because that's the rule of local government pensions.
Oh,
It's been changed.
Yeah.
What if you take it early?
Yes. Yeah. Even if I retire 1 year early, I will lose 5% from LGPS. So even though that's my money that I've given to them, it's not their money. They haven't paid it. I've given them that money. I've given them £300,000. They will keep 27% if I want to retire at age 60.
That's what my mum's going through at the minute, because she's 60.
Yeah.
And she's actually now looking at, my grandma's clearly had to mention, my granddad's struggling with her, so she's looking at retiring to help look after my grandma because they don't want to put her in somewhere. Like usually the teaching assistant and, you know, the way it will work, she will lose money if she takes it. So she's actually stuck this minute time trying to weigh her options, not knowing what to do.
And you know, with the best will in the world, as a teaching assistant, I'm very, very lucky that I'm on a 37.5-hour contract because a teaching assistant is normally about 16 hours. And because we're only paid for 39 weeks, we're not paid for the holidays, I take home £1,000 a month. And I've got a 17-year-old son, so I qualify for working tax credits and child benefit, which I will only get child benefit until he's 19. I only get working tax credits if he remains at college. So once he's 19, I'll lose £500 a month. I'm going to lose 33% of my salary. So I've got to manage on £1,000 a month, which is a lot more than a lot of people, I understand that. But I'm in a catch-22. I can't afford to retire because they'll take my money, which is not their money, it's my money. You know, so state pension to one side. What do I do?
Yeah, I mean, the teaching thing's the same. I'm just about to do teaching now. And the current rate, it keeps going up every couple of years, and I feel for you guys, really do. Current rate, I'd be 68 and still having to teach a class full of teenagers.
Yeah.
That's not the rule.
No,
You know,
it's not.
Yeah, and that's the current rate. And the current rate going, that'd be about 78, I think, by the time it's actually retire. You know, so for me, that would be one of my big things that the Labour Party needs to look at, is how do we stop that age going up? And is there a difference between people who are doing really strenuous physical work? You know, it's okay, I'd be able to sit behind the desk, that'd be okay, but actually, you know, corralling 30 teenagers with a whip and a chair at 78 is probably not good. So is that something that the Labour Party are going to look at?
Yes.
I was a teacher for 28 years in a very large comprehensive in Livingston towns, and talking about discrimination, there was definitely, when a new head came in, he wanted to get rid of the older teachers if possible. There were lots of us at 50 pounds age, 55, and I felt like I was pushed out, like a lot of the older women were, because they wanted to bring in new, younger, cheaper teachers. So at 55 I had to find another job, which I did do, and I travelled down to London. I went to work at the NUC headquarters actually for 5 years. I travelled every week down to London on the train. So I thought I was going to be able to retire at 60 because you get tired after 28 years of teaching and 5 years travelling to London. You're knackered. You can't do it anymore. And what this lady said is right, you couldn't go on for teaching. you know, I had two quite strenuous jobs, if you like. And now I'm I thought I'd be able to retire. Well, I retired at 60 thinking I'd get a pension. Then it went to 62 and I thought, well, I can just last till 62, just about, my teacher's pension. But I can't last till my pension come at 64 and a bit. I don't even understand why it's not on your birthday, you know, it's extended even a bit further. When I'm 64 and 2 months. So it's just unfair. I've had to survive 4 years on not very much, basically. And I met with John Cridland, who you probably know, who wrote the report for the future, because I know his brother, and he kindly met with me. And he admitted that it had been maladministration, that he said that staffing levels, there weren't staff to actually send these letters out to people. I never received anything telling me about my pension age, I've never had anything. So to me it's gross maladministration.
Can I just make a point too? The knock-on effect of keeping this generation in work is stopping the younger generation from finding work because there are vacancies. So it's a vicious circle.
Yeah, I just had to retire from delivery because I can't physically do it anymore. I have a bad back, so I've had to retire. And I'm fortunate I do have a small NHS pension. But, I mean, really, 66 is when I should be getting my pension. And most women can't work beyond that, really. You know, when you're doing something physical, like you're bending down, I mean, it's really...
It's heavy work.
Yeah. And, but my colleagues are having to, you know, I've had to retire, I have no choice but to continue. But they're just struggling on. And the amount of bad backs within the nursing...
So what are you doing?
I've retired. I mean, I'm fortunate to have a small pension anyway. And
Well, you have an NHS pension, do you?
Yeah, it's only small, but it came to it quite late.
But you have no other income beyond that?
Well, I have my husband, so I know I'm fortunate. But if I didn't, you know, I could really easily be in the situation where I think it's £400 something a month, my pension. And that's, I don't know what I would get beyond that.
So you're in a position that he can help you on this?
Yeah, I'm okay, but
yeah.
I'm not thinking I'm okay, Jack, you know.
Yeah, I know,
it's a
I
dreadful
get
situation for everybody.
But it relies on the lottery of life. That
Yes, absolutely.
My worry is we'll just never get a pension. At my age group, we're seeing this already with these guys, it gets reduced and reduced so much that actually by the time I do get to retire, I won't actually get a pension. And all I'll have is whatever I've managed to save, which for you guys hasn't given you any notice whatsoever.
I don't have any say, I have no savings.
Well, will they do that to us as well? Will we get to 55 and they'll go, well actually we can't afford to pay the state pension anymore, you don't get anything. And that'll be that.
That's right, it's wrong because you paid into it, it's your money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably can't afford to give it yet, and it's kind of looking after it for you.
That's
It's
true,
yours.
we're not going to get anything at all.
But this is the problem. All you ladies that have listened to you said, my husband's supporting me. We keep banging on about equality, but our husbands shouldn't have to support us.
I was thinking, well, I get to that age and I would
That's exactly right.
My husband is
your point as well.
supporting me for his pension. He shouldn't have to.
taking away our independence.
Yeah. This is it. They say we're equal, and then they say, except that a man's not support you. Therefore, we're not equal.
Indeed. Is there a central agreed point being made by the WASPI campaign for all of this?
What's the ask?
Yeah, what is it? Could you have
To put us back into the financial position that we would have been in having got our pensions at 60. So basically it's compensation. Traditional support, isn't it, in between the 60 and the 66?
But you've got to be careful there that they don't take your husband's income into account.
Oh, well, yeah, we don't want that needs testing.
Yeah, no, it's
or like the lady said, she has a small NHS pension. There's a few of us who have a small pension. That would completely eliminate any chance of universal credit or anything else. So we can live off that small pension plus some support from a partner, but not just on that pension.
It's to be taken
But
in our
independence of
own
taxation.
not
not in conjunction with
That's
us.
right, as an individual.
We paid our own NHS
Yeah.
NI money in. So, you know, to be taken as individuals, not to be taken as part of a family. I mean, with this, you know, being part of WASPI, right the way along, my story is no different to anybody else's. I've done everything I'm supposed to do right the way through, paying the taxes. I was a teacher as well. Took early retirement because I wasn't well, I'd got polymyalgia. And doing very much helping out with the grandchildren, helping out with my mum who's got vascular dementia. Couldn't possibly do that if I was working when you're getting phone calls, you know, all times of the night, but to try and keep her out of a home. Now with all of this, we've followed everything that we know we're supposed to do. We've followed all the rules, and now the time has come when, you know, my letter came at 57. So now what do we do about it? You know, as far as, you know, we're concerned, you know, we've had all of these debates in Parliament, we've done all of the demos, we've kept within the letter of the law. A lot of us are also writing our letters to the DWP, doing everything with this. What should we now be doing? You know, how can we now? You know, I'm actually from Wigan, and I'm very grateful to Jackie and Chris for, you know, for letting me come. I was from Blackpool originally. But, you know, with all of this, we've followed all the guidelines. What can we do now to move this forward? You know, to try and get the government to, you know, to take notice of it. Very grateful for everything you've done, the number of times you've spoken up for us. And our MPs, we've got Lisa Nandy and Yvonne Favargit, who've been brilliant in the town. Not only with WASPI, but, you know, as far as the town's concerned, very grateful for everything that they've done. I will give them a plug there. But no, as I say, very grateful. And of course the new Joe Platt as well, you know, who've tried to do. But what do we do now? I'm in touch with 27 of the Greater Manchester MPs. 4 of them are Conservative, the rest of them are Labour. And again, you know, Mike Kane, Jeff Smith, all of those, Angela Rayner, great, very much on board. You know, Lucy Powell, Rebecca Long-Bailey, all of them are great. But the 4, you know, Conservative MPs that we've got, you know, would like to ignore me. They don't get much of a chance to ignore me. Don't get much of a chance. But, I mean, we've got, you know, Brady, Greg Brady, is it?
Brady.
Yeah, Chris Smith, who's got a very small majority. I don't know if you're going to go there. He's got 832 votes last time, you know, the majority. And this time it's 936, so he's very close for getting shut off really. But what can we do? What can we do to try and move it forward? You know, I mean, we've had all of these debates in Westminster, which, you know, as I say, very grateful for, but none of them make any difference, do they, you know, with the voting and things. So what can we do to try and do this?
Any other points? Yeah.
Well, I just want, Chris Wright, I'm local councillor in Blackpool, and I did a notice of motion before council for the WASPI ladies. I think the main thing we've all got to do now is get other people out when an election comes, get people to mark that cross for Jeremy, and then we'll see some difference. The fact being is we need to change the
change that, yeah, that's right. And we got rid of one of the Greater Manchester, you know, Tories and got James Frith in, you know. So to say, yeah, gradually doing it, but it's this in between now. You know, what is our best way forward for doing?
Time's ticking away.
Okay, anything else?
Sure. Somebody mentioned savings, and I just want to say that like a lot of people, I have a small occupational pension. Obviously there's been a shortfall, and I essentially started my career in the mid-40s after I divorced, went to time of divorce. So obviously I'm in the teacher's pension scheme. You're not able to achieve more than a certain amount, which I'm able to. But I have a mortgage, and I didn't get the family home. I started afresh. I lost everything basically, more or less. My teacher's pension lump sum, what savings I've managed to put together, should have paid my mortgage off. What am I using to subsidise my living now? Because I've had to come out of my employment, and I took a contract last year on minimum pay for 4 months. That came to an end because of cutbacks. I was a court usher for 4 months. I'm now applying to be a foster parent. I'm going to panel soon, so that will be hopefully my final career. but I've used up most of what should have paid my mortgage off. It's a life reality. You can't get by on, you know, a minimal amount of money when you've got things going on in your life, and you've had to you've had life difficulties and you've had to come away. I wasn't notified until about 3 years before I was due to retire, what I thought would be 60, about this state pension age changes. It's a terrible thing that they started sending letters out to women and got so far down the list and stopped because they knew they were going to do some more changes, I think, and then started again and stopped again. So it's all been done very haphazard. It's the same as the comparisons with private and occupational pension schemes. It's haphazard. Teachers' Pension Union fought for changes not to impact on people who joined the scheme before 2007. Obviously, the scheme you've transferred to, that's not happened, but they've been drawn in line with the state pension now, some of the occupational and private pension schemes. But again, it's haphazard.
It's completely haphazard. Some occupational schemes pay a pension at even 60, irrespective of whether you're working or not. They just pay at 60. Others align themselves with the state pension scheme, or others are trying to end final salary schemes and go on to a defined benefit scheme, which is what do you think retirement age ought to be? Retirement age ought to be?
Personally, I've drawn some graphs. I've drawn a series of graphs. And when I first sort of started to challenge the notion of these changes, when I became very aware of them, I had a counsellor where I lived, my MP's in a very bad way, he wasn't not interested in this. And I said, why didn't they just make it 62.5 for men? Women would cost any? You know what the answer was? Yes, it would cost more because the men get more than the women. You know that. Because they happen to earn more in it somehow. Is it not to the SERPs or something? And SERPs rules have changed over the years anyway, so, you know, people gain rules. It's very, very tricky. I think a lot of it has to do with how the rules are written. So I think the new pension rules, a lot of people are not aware of it. There's a lot of nastiness goes on social media about this. They think we're all going to get £155. We're not. We're not. Mine will be about 120-ish.
If you're contracted out, you don't get this headline figure.
But it's a massive deduction for the
Or contract out for the lower NI contributions in the 70s, wasn't it?
But it's
It's only stopped, isn't it? Only stopped in April 16 with the new pension rules.
It did.
And then it started paying full NI.
Because I remember when the whole debate was all about lower NI contributions. I used to be a union organiser in Newquay, and I spent a lot of time trying to persuade the members, and they were very reluctant to pay the higher rates because of the advantage they got. I mean, I could see their argument. They were part-time, often working 20, 30 hours a week, and they felt that they ought to be allowed to pay the lower rate. And if you're a younger person in the 20s and 30s, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you think, well, so what? People at that time didn't realise what the
But even if you paid over the 35 years, I'd say 40 years in what I was contracted out by the teachers' pension scheme. So the last 5 years don't count anyway. You know, with that, even though, yes, I've obviously paid a lower national insurance amount for the whole of the time, but I have paid an extra 5 years, but that doesn't matter. I said for my pension forecast and I'm due to get £120 regardless of the flat rate that's been, you know, the £159 is it now. But my husband, who had a nervous breakdown and left teaching and went to work as the lowest of the low at B&Q for 5 years, is due to get £11 a week more than me. He will share. You know, not less national insurance than I did as an assistant head. You know,
I'm conscious of time, so
sorry.
I have to wrap up now.
Sorry.
So, yeah, all right.
The amount less that you pay is disproportionate to the amount that
Yeah,
you deduct it quite a lot considering the
Because I work part-time while I have no children. Just for that, we don't disagree with the school whatever is set at, WASPI does not agree with it not being the same. We say it should be the same. What we say is that they should have brought it in more fairly, more transitional, with a bit more warning and a slower time scale.
The point is, transition was not brought in. lot of people were not informed about it, and therefore some people took retirement thinking they were going to get a pension, which they didn't. I'm sure
Some of us still have
some of you in this
to
room in that situation. Sorry, yes.
Some of us have been hit twice as well, because we got hit with the 95 policies and we got hit with the 2000.
We're being told that there was only a maximum of 18 months difference. But that was on top of the original
And in the debate that we had in Westminster Hall, which is not, there's no vote at the end of that, in that debate, I'm sure you all saw it, that idea from one of the Conservative ministers that you should undertake apprenticeship.
Have you tried to get in touch with the job centre? I got through to Sheffield.
What, you're looking for apprenticeship?
I thought after being 36 years as a teacher, I thought that maybe I would like to do something with cruise or travel or something. So I got in touch with them, and the guy at the other end of the phone said, said, "Lass, you've got me there." He says, "I don't know who that is." So I tried to ring the Wigan Job Centre, got through to Sheffield, and he went away to have a little word with his boss and came back and said, "She's not a clue either who this person is who, you know, is going to be the, what was it, the older person? Champion.
Yes.
So, you know, they're supposed to be all over, but they're definitely not there.
Didn't sound like a very good champion or anything.
I think the Lodge accepted 1.1 billion concession this days, isn't it? Because basically that was being a concession. It didn't affect many people, just...
It was that 6 months, wasn't it?
The fundamental issue is the one that a number of us got, and that is independence of women. Because I remember when the Tory government, a long time ago, started individual taxation rather than family taxation. Remember that? I actually agree with that, because people should be taxed individually. That would give greater independence to women. Likewise, I support equal pay, actually, and therefore gender pay audits and reducing the gender pay gap, which is what, 20% or thereabouts at the present time. But it's also then wrong if a pension is then judged on the basis of what your partner's pension is. Because if you're saying the independence in taxation, independence of living, independent pay, then the pension should also be judged independently. So I fully get that. Secondly, the pension age, I don't think should continue, retirement age should not continue to rise and rise and rise. What we're looking at in the election is fixing it at 66 for everybody, which seems to me reasonable. If people want to work beyond that, that's a choice rather than a requirement to do so, because the way in which you've been hit is absolutely disgraceful. I mean, it's an injustice at the first order. I think the campaign has been incredibly effective by making a lot of MPs understand it, using local councils like yourself to raise it in your local authority and get a resolution through. That, obviously, a local authority doesn't provide pensions, but nevertheless it helps to give the political demand. We did get a debate in Westminster Hall, which was, I think, the largest ever attendance by MPs at what is theoretically what's called an adjournment debate in the House of Commons. And we discussed it with the Shadow Cabinet. What I said was that we would use one of our opposition day debates in the session beginning in September in order to get a parliamentary vote on it. So there would be an actual vote on a resolution about justice and compensation for the WASPI Women. And I'm very determined to achieve that. So we'll get this is actually something about justice in society, because you're a cohort of women. It's sort of like, I can hear my mother saying all this now, because she felt very strongly on this. She's sadly long gone, but she felt very strongly on all of this. She didn't want to be dependent on my dad's income. She wanted her own independence, her own income. She was a teacher, like a number of you. She wanted a decent pension because of that. Didn't want to rely on his pension. But, like so many women, she took a break to bring me up and my brothers, and therefore she lost out on pension. And she got a significantly lower pension than he did. She worked just as hard as he did all her life. It's just that 10 years of that was at home looking after me and my brothers. So many your mum and so many others. And so it's a question about independence and recognition. And what I'm asking is that we bring forward and asking Debbie Abraham to do this, bring forward a policy option idea on the direct issues facing everyone here. That's the immediate demand, and we'll put those in a resolution and vote on a resolution in Parliament, but also about genuine equality for women throughout their lives, because it is simply not good enough for us to keep harking back to the great achievement of Barbara Castle in 1970 and still see a gender pay gap of between 19 and 20%. And it hasn't gone down very much in the last few years. And so I've therefore said there would be gender pay audits on every company, and there would be sanctions against companies through public procurement who maintain a gender pay gap. Some companies do it by basically making jobs and departments women only, pay them less than those that are majority men. You know how it goes. And also the pension schemes vary enormously. The local government scheme, the pension scheme. The union's own employment schemes are often very good. These are union staff can get retirement at 60 on full benefits. Others make it linked to the state scheme. Others are reducing the final salary schemes or getting rid of them altogether. Yes, there is an ageing population, but there's also a requirement, surely, that there be justice for everybody. And you've been grotesquely discriminated against because of the randomness of when you were born. I mean, I was born in 1949, everybody knows that. Yes, I know that anyway. And so I don't personally have that problem, besides I'm sort of work anyway, as you probably noticed. But it's just wrong what's happened to you. We'll get that resolution before Parliament, we'll let you know when the date of it is, we'll get a proposal for you on wider issues of discrimination and inequality for women in society, and particularly the effect that has on older women. I'm absolutely with you on this. Women work just the same as men, contribute just the same as men. And if you're then judged on the basis of your husband's income, where's the independence, where's the recognition of your independence and your contribution to society? Let's work on those policies together. Okay?